Joe, where the hell have you... Oh, my God, baby, what happened?
You shot him in the head, Joe.
You kidding me, Joe?
Hello, Joe. Tell me where the money is.
I'm barely a cop, Joe.
What about the head, Joe? Joe, we need to talk.
Joe's good with this?
It was Joe's plan.
Joe.
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 Joe!
Is there a problem?
Inspired by the life of creator Robb Cullen, Average Joe is a darkly comedic, intense one-hour drama set in the Hill District of Pittsburgh. Blue-collar plumber Joe Washington discovers his recently deceased father lived a secret second life and stole millions of dollars from dangerous people just before he died. Now, those people think Joe knows where the money is. A bloody and violent confrontation triggers a chain of events that forces Joe and his close-knit circle of family and friends out of their very average and mundane lives into a life or death race against time to find the truth and the millions. What's good, everybody? It's your girl Tika Deshawn. Thank you so much for tapping into All Things Ruthless, home of the Ruthless Addicts. I'm here to bring you a recap of Average Joe, and make sure you are tapped in every Monday. I will give you my rating at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tika's Ruthless Ratings. But for now, let me give you guys this review of, or my recap of, Average Joe. So again, we meet Joe and we see Joe is walking into an office. We don't, at this point, we don't know what that office is or where exactly he is. So Joe walks into that office and he sees papers and everything all over the place. And then the next thing you know, we see Joe hit the floor. As if someone has struck him and he hits the floor. So then we fast forward to where we also see Joe and his family are at what they call a repast. And so everyone is just talking amongst themselves. So Joe is just there and he is thanking everyone for coming to, celebrate the life of his father. We also see a funny moment of this one right here by the name of Kathy. So Kathy walks in, and this shows the personality of Kathy. But Kathy walks in with a small bouquet of flowers, and what she does is take her card from her flowers and place it on a bigger funeral or floral arrangement. And so we get to see a little bit of Kathy's personality, but not a whole lot. And also in the midst of being, mourning his father, Joe is told by his supervisor that he has to be to work tomorrow. And so, at first Joe is like, nah, I'm trying to mourn my dad, but then it's like as if he has no choice but to go to work. So then we see that early morning, we see Joe and his wife, and they're talking, just trying to get through the day, get through the morning. And he tells her, look, I want you to, no, she said she has to go to get some hardware supplies and for the garden or whatever. And so he says, yeah, but could you please, go to my best friend, go to his shop, because, he's competing with, go to Leon's shop because he's competing, with other companies like Home Depot. So support black business. And she's like, no, because every time I go there, they're way more expensive, blah, blah, blah. She's just telling him why she doesn't want to go. But anyway, she ends up making the choice to go to the hardware shop. Now, before she walks into the hardware shop, you guys, y'all girl is off the chain. Okay, she's in there swiping left. Now Kathy has a whole husband by the name of Leon, y'all, and she's in there swiping left. So she strikes me as the bored housewife, but y'all gotta keep listening keep watching, because there's even more to Kathy that we just aren't privy to right at the very moment. So again, she walks in, She gets she goes in to get whatever she gets, and she ends up charging her $39.90. And so wifey is waiting there like, okay, give me my change. And she's like, okay, that's it, have a nice day. And she puts, and wifey walks out, but Kathy takes the money, and instead of putting it in the register, she puts it in her bra. So Kathy is shaving off of the register, y'all. She's shaving off the register. She's doing what she has to do. Like I said, there's more to Kathy. We have yet to see. I'm looking forward to seeing how much more her character will develop. But then we see Joe at his father's shop. This is the scene that we see in the very beginning where Joe is hit over the head. He falls to the ground, but now he's being tortured. He's been tortured by this Russian guy who is telling him, where's the money? Where's the money? Again, his father stole money from apparently some Russian people. And now they think that Joe knows where the money is. Now, come to find out, y'all see the pretty little boy right here, the pretty young Russian young man. It was Joe's daughter's boyfriend. So he literally played her thinking, just getting in good, trying to get in good with her. I don't know why. Maybe they knew he was stealing the money and that was the plot, to come in and try to get in with the family so that he could easily find out where the money is, but it didn't work. Joe's father ended up dying. And again, he's being tortured. He's been tortured by this young man. He has, and the big dude, they have broken multiple fingers of Joe. If you look at his hand, you see the fingers are up. So anyway, like I said, he's been tortured, but he finds a way to get loose. He cuts himself free with tape. He ends up, shooting the guard, shooting the buddy, big dude, and then he ends up taking the life of Dimitri, which that's his name, Dimitri, Jennifer's boyfriend. So now Joe has to answer to many people, but within that time frame, Leon walks in, and Leon is like, oh my God, what happened? What is going on? And so Joe explains to him, they came looking for some money, and Joe was not giving up the password. He wasn't giving up the digits to the safe. But once he took them out, he ended up opening up the safe, and Leon was like, man, why didn't you just give them the money? So come to find out, Joe's daddy done took millions of dollars as well as a Lamborghini from these Russian people. And now Joe has to reap the repercussions of his daddy's actions. So then there's so many, basically they go through this whole tailspin of now they have to get rid of the bodies. But in the midst of that, this other Russian dude comes along, and he says, to them, he says to them, look, you have to, since Dimitri is unalive, I have to die too, and he has to go and commit a harikari. Now, y'all know in the Japanese culture, harikari is unaliving oneself. So this guy says the difference in what he has to do is he has to go out in public, announce to the world who he is, and then take his own life. Harikari is kind of done by yourself, but this is done out in public. And so, because he finds out that, the son is dead. So if the son is dead, that means he's dead. That means he didn't do his job. And so he has to take the life of himself. So anyway, you guys, Joe drops him off in the public, and he literally watches him do it. He watches him walk into the pub in the crowd. He tells, he announces who he is. And before going to this situation, he calls his daughter. He gets on the phone, calls his wife and his daughter, and let them know, hey, I love you, and I'm not going to see you anymore. So just know I love you, and you'll always be taken care of. And so Joe sees that, but then Joe has to go throughout this whole time. Now, mind you, Kathy caught a body too. I didn't, because a lot of this stuff is kind of graphic, so I didn't give you images. But Kathy caught a body too, because these Russian people were attempting to take out Leon as well, because they tracked Leon, because Leon silly self took one of the phones with him. So wifey, Kathy, I'm telling y'all, there's something different about Kathy, but Kathy caught a body too. So this is how Kathy is involved in, and Leon, this is how they're involved in this whole circle. So Leon is outside, can't take it, because Kathy told in the beginning, she was like, look, what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to chop these bodies up, and we're going to have to take them to the woods and spread peanut butter all over them, and the coyotes will come and eat them. And so he can't take that. He has a weak stomach, and inside we see Kathy has taken over. She has gotten her groove, and they are listening to music as they chop up this body and spread peanut butter all over these bodies. Then Joe just steps in and helps so that they can go ahead and finish the job. So then they go out to the woods, and Touch, which is also a police officer, is involved. He throws out a foot in the woods, and sure enough, the coyote comes and takes the foot, and take it away, and he say, dang, this really does work. And so then we see again weak Leon. Leon is charged with getting rid of, and happens to be the head of Dimitri. Keep in mind, that's Jennifer's boyfriend. So anyway, he's the one that's responsible for getting rid of it. And so he falls, he's clumsy and everything. He falls, gets peanut butter all over him. He's disgusted, but then he just gets back up and just throws it. Not looking where he threw it at, he just throws it. So then we see everybody moving back into motion, trying to, clean up behind everything that has happened. The guys are moving, driving along, thinking like, dang, I can't believe I just did this. And again, Kathy, I don't know, there's something different about Kathy. Kathy is loving all of this. She is back at the hardware store where she's cleaning up the mess. Joe has to go back to his daddy's shop where he cleans up, just in case somebody comes along to ask questions. Everything will be clear. Nobody will be able to, tell that something wrong happened at either one of those locations. Then we see Kathy and Leon, and this whole situation has turned Kathy on so much till she is so turned on that she finds a moment to get intimate with her husband. Now, mind you, even when they were chopping up the bodies or getting ready to chop up the bodies, she was ready to get it in at that point. But they got stopped because Joe walked in. So anyway, we find out that Touch, who is also the police officer, has a heroin addiction. And this is what happened to Touch. Touch saw his little girl shoot his wife. Now, the little girl was playing with the gun. And, so basically Touch has this guilt from that situation. So now we know why Touch is a drug addict. And then we see Joe and his wife, and he say, yes, you're right, wifey, we're not these people. She tells him that because she wanted to call the FBI in the beginning, but then he breaks it down to her and tell her how detrimental it will be if they call the FBI. Everybody's gonna be in trouble. So finally, last but not least, y'all, because they gave us 2 whole episodes, and on the very last episode, we see the mistake that Leon has made. He has thrown this head onto a golf course. And these 2 guys, they were just out there playing golf, and they see the head. They see this head they don't know that this is the head of Dimitri, a Russian mob boss's kid. And so now, who knows what's going to happen on episode 3? I'm sure we're going to get an episode 3. If we don't, they are crazy, because I absolutely love this show. I'm now invested in this show, or vested in this show. I need to see what's going to happen next. Average Joe seems to be a crazy roller coaster of a ride, and I am looking forward to more of it. Drop your comments below if you have seen Average Joe. If you haven't, it's streaming now on BET Plus. With that being said, thank you all so much for tapping into All Things Ruthless with my recap of Average Joe. If you're new to my channel, finding me for the very first time, please hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that you can receive reminders of new Ruthless content such as this, movie reviews, etc. Alright, and YouTube says that these two videos up here, this video and that link, you guys should check it out. So make sure you do just that. Click on the link, click on that circle, click on that square, click on that triangle, just to see what is going on next, okay? Alright, y'all, that's about it. Thank you so much, and you already know, stay ruthless.